Hi everyone. I wanted to go through this with you. Hi everyone. Everyone was interested in learning how to do a print and cut. And as promised, some time ago, I was supposed to post the video, but I never had a chance. So this video is to show you guys how to do a print and cut. As you can see, I'm also recording my silhouette because I want to go through the whole entire process with you. First, we're going to go in. I'm going to do Elena. You got to excuse that. I'm going to go in and do get Elena of Avalor. And I put in a Elena of Avalor PNG. I'm going to choose, go to images, and I'm going to choose actually two images. I want this one, and as you can see, this is considered a PNG. It has the block, and it's gray and white blocks. That's when you know it's a PNG. So I'm going to copy the image, bring it into my silhouette, paste it here. Then I'm going to go back, and I also want this this shield or banner. I'm going to take that in also, copy image, and bring into my silhouette. Although it said it was, this image was PNG, it actually isn't. It's I'm not sure if it changed into a clip art after I copy and pasted it. More than likely, if I had saved it, it would have gone into PNG format, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do with this one, because I only want the inside of this, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trace it. Select trace area. And to trace it, I only want the outer edge of it. So I'm going to go all the way up on threshold, and then I'm going to click trace outer edge. And I only want the outer edge. So with me only wanting the outer edge, there are two ways to do this. I'm going to show you the first way, which is this way. We're going to crop it. And as you can see, there's a boundary box around it. Here, I couldn't do an offset because of the boundary box. That's why you have to, that's why it has to be traced first. So now I'm going to go to my modify panel, and I'm going to click crop. Once it's cropped, this is the first way that it can be done. This is the first way. I'm going to go back because I actually need it twice. So I'm going to duplicate it so that I can show you both ways. As you can see, it's still there. It's still with the outline. And I'm still going to go back, and I'm going to crop it. And to make sure that everything cropped and you no longer have the boundary box, all you have to do is just go to offset, and if it offsets, that means the boundary box is no longer there. I'm going to go ahead on and decrease the size, decrease it now. Instead of waiting, I'm going to change it to 0.040 instead of 0.050, and I'm going to click apply. I'm going to change the color to white. And I changed the color to white. Now I have to group it. And I grouped it because when I get ready to cut, I don't want it to cut two different areas. I want it to cut only that one area. This is the second way that you would have done, this is the second way you would have done it, and then you would not have had to crop it. It was just a simple trace. So we're going to go to trace, select area, and then you have to make sure that it is solid, and then you would just do trace and detach. When you do trace and detach, it's going to release this white area because you don't need that white area. And then to make sure that it is functioning, you go to offset, and as you can see, it is functional. So you would have offset it like I did in this one, but because we don't need this, I'm going to delete it. But that's just another way of tracing a clip tracing a clip art. That one was a PNG. That one was a PNG. It was a PNG. Well, it was supposed to be a PNG, but it came in as a clip art. So it was just two ways of getting what you want, doing the same thing, but you just find the way that is faster or easiest for you. I always work on speed, because the longer time you take, the longer it takes to finish a project, and time is valuable. So I work pretty much along the speed rounds. So I'm going to delete this one, and actually I have to do the same exact thing to this one. With this, it's a little bit more complicated than this one was, because we have openings in them, and we want to make sure that we don't have those openings when we get ready to do the printing cut. We got to make sure that these areas are open. So I'm going to go back to trace, select trace area, and I'm going to go up on my threshold. And this one I'm not doing I want to make sure that I catch pretty much everything. And as you can see, there are spots in here, and spot here, and spots in different areas, but we can get rid of those, and that's okay. That's quite all right. We can get rid of those, and I'll show you how to do that, to get rid of these spots and still use this as an outline. And it doesn't affect your shoes here. We still can use that. So I'm going to go to trace, and now that I've gone to trace, as you can see, you see these specks here. If I had cropped that, you would have had holes in the shoes. We don't want the holes in the shoes where these pieces are. So what we're going to do is we're going to release the compound path. We're going to delete the pieces we don't need, which are here, and all of these other small pieces that we do not need. But remember, we still have to make a hole, these holes through this dress, through it, so that it comes out exactly how we want it. So now I'm going to set it up in the spot it's supposed to be in, and make sure everything is pretty much perfect, as perfect as I can get it anyway. And I think we have it. And we're going to use the same process as we used for this one. We're going to crop it. Oh, sorry. No, we're not going to use the same process. We first have to go back and make a compound path. I'm so sorry about that. Now that we've made that compound path, now we're going to bring it in. And the reason we had to make the compound path, as you can see, there were boxes around here. That was because they were, these areas were loose areas, but you don't want those loose areas. That's why I had to go back and make a compound path. Now I can set it up. Now I can set it up. And that's a little spot. I'm not really worried about that spot, because I can easily get rid of that spot. And I'll show you how I get rid of it. Now you can see that everything is pretty much outlined, and I think I pretty much have everything covered. I think I have it. So now you can go ahead on and modify, and then you can crop. Now that is cropped, and I want to show you with this one before I crop it. I want to show you with this one. I'm going to go back before I crop it. I'm going to show you. If I try to offset this, you're going to see I won't be able to offset it. You'll see I won't be able to offset. It has the boundary box around it, and you cannot offset it with the boundary box around it. So that's why I had to trace it first to get rid of the boundary box. So I'm going to delete the boundary box and bring this back in and line it back up. And now that it's lined back up, now I want to crop it. So we're going to go to the modified box. We're going to crop it. And now that it's cropped, you don't see the red line anymore. Now you'll be able to see that we can offset it. And as you can see, that's the offset. And I'm only going to offset because I want the color to pop out here. Since these colors are so close, I want the color to be able to pop out. Give me 1 second, because that little piece that was in there, we don't need that. So we're going to delete that little piece. And now we're going to go back to offset. Offset. And then I'm going to go all the way down. And I'm going to place it at 0.30. 0.40, I'm sorry. And hit apply. Now that it's at 0.40, we want to color it. And now that it's colored, we want to group it. And I'm going to bring this back in and line it up. And as you can see, I actually thought I had colored, but I had not colored the fill. I had not done the fill color. So now the fill color is done. Or at least I thought it was anyway. Uh-oh. I'm going to ungroup it so that I can color the fill color. You guys can't see it, but I can. Okay, now the fill color is colored. And I'm going to bring it in here so that I can see it a little bit better to line it up. Okay, I think that's perfect. Now I'm going to group it. I don't know how I missed that step, but that's okay. We have it now. Now I'm going to group it, and I only put that fill color in it because I only put that outline color because these colors would probably clash if I had just kept it with just the dress just like that. That's the reason why I changed the color on it. So now I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to flip horizontally. And to check to make sure that the height is the same, I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to try to come as close as possible as I can to get in the sides where they should be. And that looks like that's perfect. Now I'm just going to write some words, and it doesn't matter what text because it's just to show you how this is done. I'm going to place it in the center, and then I won't even change the text because it's basically to show you how everything is done. And now that it's there, I'm just going to group everything together. And the reason you want to group, because if you don't, it's going to cut everything that's there. It's going to cut all of this stuff. And you don't want it to cut all of that stuff. So now we're going to set up our page. I'm going to go to set up the page and our registration. So I want to go to page setup. Now it's on page setup. I need to change it to 8.5 by 11 letter size. Now that it's on letter size, as you can see, there's a show cut border. And I want that show cut border because once I go into the registration marks, you'll be able to tell if it's too big or it's too small, depending on, you know, where it's located at on the screen. So this is your show cut border. That shows you your show cut border. So now, and of course the mat, you don't change anything here. You just change your page size. Now I'm going to go to my registration marks. You're going to turn it on. I'm going to click type 1 because it is a Cameo. And as you can see, it's kind of close to my cut border. So I want to be able to either minimize it or bring it over. So I'm going to bring it over. As you can see, I brought it over. And now I'm going to print it. And once it prints, I'm going to show you how, I'll then show you how to set up the cut settings for it. I'll be able to show you how to set up the cut settings for it. And I'll be recording as it cuts. So now I'm going to make sure I have cardstock. And I have cardstock. I'm going to send it to the printer. And I'm going to click print. And while it's printing, we're going to go ahead on and go next to the send. You're going to click send because you're going to get it ready to be able to, you want to get it ready so that you can have it ready for the cut. So we're using cardstock paper, and I try to increase it because the paper that I have is like it's hard to cut. It's a Nina paper, and I think it's a little bit thicker. So what I did was I increased. I'm going to increase the thickness, and I'm also going to change the needle size. And of course, here you can see where all of these double lines, but we're going to get rid of that because we only want to cut the outline, the outside. So now that it's on cardstock, I've changed some of these options. That's only me because of my needle, but you don't have to do that. Whatever works for you, that works for you. I'm also going to go into the needle here and change it. And some of you may not know how to change that, but I'm going to change it. I don't know if you can see me or not, but all I do is I find the arrow that's on the gray piece and I line it up along the number itself. And then I just turn it. So I'm just going to go to 3. And I'm going to 3, like I said, because of the thickness of my paper. And then I'll push it in and place that back. And now we want to go back here to set up, to make sure that this is set up properly. So I only want to cut the edge. Now, as you can see, now it's only cutting the edge. Now that it's only cutting the edge, I don't need this because I have this boundary box, so I removed that one because I have this one. This I didn't need the boundary box, so because I have the cut print box, so I removed that particular boundary box. It was only showing you where it was going to cut, but I didn't necessarily need that, so I just removed it. And as you can see, I cut just the edge. Now I'm setting it up. I'm setting it up to print. I mean to cut. And what I'm going to do is, you're going to see me switch the webcam to make it bigger so you guys can actually see. The cuts itself, so you can see everything yourself. So I just have to change the webcam so that you can see that. Now I've changed the webcam, and I still need to press. Let me go back because I have to press send first before I can change the webcam. I'm going to press send so that it can start cutting, and I'm going to change the webcam. Right now it's registering, and as you can see, there's a light underneath it, and that light is registering, utilizing the registration marks. And it's preparing to cut. And as you can see, now it's cutting, and I'm hoping it cuts straight through. Okay, and now that it is stopped, and I think it did a pretty good job of cutting. So now that it is cut, we're going to remove it, and as you can see, it did a really good job of cutting. It did an awesome job at cutting. And give me a second. Lisa, can you turn the light on for me, please? She's turning the light on for me so you can see that it did cut along the edges, and it cut everything, and so you can see how pretty it is. You would have been able to see it as a cupcake topper. If I had made it smaller, you could have made it as a cupcake topper. It would have been great for a cupcake topper. And as you can see, and it bends, and I'll show you a trick too. Also, when it bends like that, if you place a book on it, it'll straighten out. You place it for about an hour. A heavy book or dictionary or something, and it will straighten out for you. And as you can see, this is it. This is your printing cut, and as you can see how detailed it is. When I did the offset, it did a pretty good cut. Everything is pretty much intact, and it's pretty. You can just use it just as it is. So that will conclude the printing cut. And if you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I know sometimes you try to get in touch with me, and I'm just really busy. A lot of times I'm real busy, but don't give up. Just message me or what have you. Sometime I miss your what you post in the groups, because I'm doing classes, silhouette classes. But if I do, just send me a message through my inbox, because I do go through the inbox, and I check messages and I answer messages. I may miss it because I get so many posts through my timeline, until sometimes I don't see everything. So if I miss something or I don't respond to you, please send me a message. I don't mind at all. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video.